Why is real estate so important in early retirement? This is part one of a three-part series I'm going to be doing on our build phase. What we use to build our net worth so we could retire early. And the three areas that we used were real estate, investing in the stock market, and then business ownership. So subscribe so you don't miss anything. We're in the middle of moving, so if there's an echo, I apologize in advance. This room is pretty empty, and it's just going to get more empty. So I mentioned before in another video that we had a small house that we had moved into. It was 900 square feet, and there were 6 of us living there. So we came to a point where we were ready to move on. We had saved enough money, invested enough money that we wanted to buy more real estate, and we knew that real estate was going to be a really important part of our plan, which we'll get to in a minute as to why it's so important. But this was strictly an investment decision to buy this house. And plus, by turning that 900 square foot home into a rental, we could use the income from that to help us pay for this new house. Our plan was a slow flip. And by slow flip, I mean we were going to live there for at least 2 years. It ended up being 4.5. We made some minor improvements. We fixed the fireplace up, made it look nice, new mantle, background thingy behind the TV. We went to IKEA and put custom desks in to create an office space for us. And this property, it wasn't just because we wanted to move into another house. It was a little bit bigger. We still had 2 kids at home. I think 2.5. I think one was part-time. So it was a little bit bigger. It had an extra bathroom. Bedrooms were bigger. Just the house overall was bigger. But like I said, it was strictly for investment purposes. So we did a lot of research. We found an area, a highly desirable area that was probably about 5 miles from our previous home. But it was an older neighborhood. Throughout the neighborhood, there were a lot of $1 million homes, but we couldn't afford a $1 million home. So in that neighborhood, we bought the cheapest house we could find. It was $400,000. In a little over 4 years, we ended up selling that same home for $650,000. And you might be thinking, a $40,000 profit, that's just luck. You might think that, but you'd be wrong, because we researched like crazy. We knew housing was on its way up. I mean, right now it still is. It's getting out of control right now. And I know some of you are thinking that even $400,000 is out of reach, but that's not the beginning. In this video, I talked about making that big move to change your life, and that's the little domino. This is about halfway through the dominoes, maybe towards the end of the dominoes. I'll show a domino thing just so you know what I'm talking about. But this is later on. Anyway, it's not your beginning. And if you're using the same strategy, research, research, research. Know your area. So how did this real estate strategy become such a game changer in our plan to retire early? It's all about tax benefits. And those tax benefits are even helping us with this house. Not nearly as much. We've done a few things. We did a wall treatment. We did some tiling. I built a Murphy bed. I mean, after realtor fees and other fees, we're going to profit probably about $55,000. And it's tax-free. There's an IRS tax law that excludes capital gains for up to $250,000 if you're single, $500,000 if you're a couple. If you live in that home 2 of the previous 5 years, which we had. And unlike your tax advantaged accounts like your 401k, IRA, those you can't touch until you're 59 and a half without severe penalties. I mean, there are ways around it. There's the rule of 55 and then the substantially equal periodic payments, or SEPP. But they both have restrictions and they're not a guarantee. And with your Roth IRA, you can pull your contributions, but those earnings, you can't touch those until you're 59 and a half without penalties. These real estate profits, that's what we're using in our early retirement. That's liquid money we can use to live on. So if all you had were these tax advantaged accounts and you want to retire early, you're going to have a gap of, if you retire at 55, you can't touch that money until you're 59 and a half. So that's 4.5 years that you can't touch any money without severe penalties. So real estate profits, that's what's going to fill that gap. And there are other options. You can do like a total live-in total flip if you've got the skills to do it. That's purchasing just a total dump that needs a total renovation and live in it while you flip it, while you make improvements, slowly make improvements and increase the value of that home. And the beauty of this plan too is if, say, your plan is 2 years and real estate's not where you want it, you can either stay there for another 3 or 4 years or whatever, or if you're ready to move on, you can rent it out for up to 3 years. You just have to live there any 2 of the past 5 years to get the tax benefits. And a very large portion of our nest egg is using real estate. And without these real estate investments, we wouldn't have been able to retire when we did. We need money to fill that gap, tax-free money. So to recap, this real estate investment strategy we used allowed us to live in a property while we made minor improvements. The profits from the sale of the property is 100% tax-free. And then finally, those proceeds, that's what you're going to use in those gap years between early retirement and when you can start pulling from those tax advantage accounts at age 59 and a half. Do you want to see a way to accelerate that savings without feeling the pinch? Watch this video right here, where I give you a strategy that worked for us. Thanks for watching.